It's habit time, people. It is habit time. No more procrastinating, no more I'll do it next week. We are starting today. Research tells us that up to 70% of our waking behavior is habitual behavior. So for better or worse, we are our habits. After years of failed attempts and a lot of research, I've created a formula to build habits that will actually stick so we can become the dream versions of ourselves. I'm so excited to share this formula with you because it's transformed my life and I hope it can transform your life too. If you're new here, hi, my name is Cadence and I'm so happy to have you. On this channel, I share and test evidence-based health and fitness tools so we can reach our health goals together. First things first, we need a dream self habit list. I have a whole video on getting clear on what you want and picking the right goals, so if you're interested in doing a deep dive, I'll link that down below, but I'll just give you a few ideas here really quickly. Envision your dream self 5 to 10 years from now and think about what they have achieved and the kind of person they are. And then from there, we can work backwards and think about the daily habits we need to be doing to get ourselves to that point, that dream self. Create a list of all of the habits that you want to build. Next, we need to prioritize because we don't want to overload our nervous system. If we try to add too many new habits into our routine at the same time, our brain literally can't integrate all of these new habits into our nervous system. So I'm going to encourage you to pick your top 6 habits, and when you're prioritizing and picking, think about your why. I have a video about discipline that I'll link down below if you're interested, where we go into detail about this, but thinking about why and anchoring yourself to that why is a really powerful way to find motivation and discipline and build up that willpower to continue with your habits or continue going towards your goals. Now, if you're anything like me, you'll be super disappointed to hear that you can't build 100 new habits at once, but I promise you can build all of these habits, but we need to pick a few at a time to focus on so that we give ourselves a chance of actually being able to build those habits, and we can continue working down the list in the future once we've got these top 6 sorted. Over the last few months, I've trialed Andrew Huberman's protocol for building habits, and it has been so helpful for me to integrate several new habits into my routines, so I'm gonna share what I did. So you have your top 6 habits, and over the next 21 days or 3 weeks, you're gonna try and do these habits every day. The expectation is that you'll probably only get 4 or 5 of them. You may miss a day here or there, and there is no punishment for missing a day. Don't try to do extra the next day. Don't punish yourself. Just keep moving on like nothing happened. Keep track of it somewhere. I use the Notes app on my phone. After 21 days, we're gonna see which of these habits actually got integrated into our nervous system. So at this point, we're not adding in any more habits, just assessing. This is a good time to get rid of any notifications, alarms, or calendar reminders that you had set up, unless you plan to keep those notifications on forever, which I think most of us don't. The first time I did this, my 6 habits were journaling, taking my vitamins, meditating, getting morning sunlight, drinking 80 ounces of water, and not having any caffeine past 12 p.m. In the first round, I was able to get the no caffeine past 12, vitamins, and water. In the next round, I was able to get meditation. And in my next round, I'm gonna work on journaling and morning sunlight. But it is seriously so incredible to start to see these habits build and stack up. Remember, there's nothing holy about a 21-day cycle. And research shows us there's so much variation person to person, or even within the same person, depending on the habit and how much friction we have around that habit. Now let's go through some of the tools that helped me during this 21-day cycle to actually build these habits and get them to stick. First, it's a numbers game. And unfortunately, we don't know our magic number. But here's the absolutely incredible thing. We know for certain if we repeat a habit enough times, we will build the neural circuits in our brain to make it more automatic or reflexive. This is so exciting. We can have any habit we want in the world if we are just willing to keep going and keep pushing to repeat that habit over and over. Research shows there's a lot of variation here. It can take us anywhere from 8 days to up to 254 days to build a habit. So don't get down on yourself if you don't feel like the habit is getting integrated quickly. It just may take you a little bit longer, but stick with it and I promise you, you will be able to get it eventually. Research shows us that people who have rigid schedules for their habit are less likely to stick to it over the long term. Life is crazy, so the least we can do is be flexible with ourselves. Giving ourselves a window of time is a lot more effective than penciling it in for a specific time. You're setting yourself up for failure if you say the only time you can get your workout done is 7 a.m. on the dot and otherwise you're not gonna do it. If the ideal time passes, there's still a second or third best time that you can try to complete your habit. The good news is once you've gotten really consistent with a habit, it doesn't need to stay within the same window of time anymore, and you can be a lot more flexible with it because it will become context independent, which essentially means you're able to complete the habit even if you're in a different place, it's a different time, you're with different people, or your overall context is different. Let's deal with the habits we really don't like doing. Neuroscience literature tells us that we know when we're lying to ourselves. So if you hate cardio, you can't just tell yourself, I love cardio, and make it easier. I wish it was that simple. What we can do instead is start thinking positively about the time before and after the habit. So here's a quick exercise. Take the habit you don't like doing and write out all of the steps to the habit. Then think about the steps in the 15 minutes before and after that habit. Is there anything positive about it that you enjoy? For example, I make my morning coffee after my workout every day, and I've started to kind of bundle that together with my workout. So even though sometimes I don't always look forward to my workouts, I always look forward to my coffee, and it makes it a much more positive experience overall. I also love playing my pump up music in the car on the way to the gym, and that has become attached to my workout experience as well. If there's nothing in your routine that you enjoy, think about things that you can add to make the experience more enjoyable. And I know for some habits, the habit itself is never going to be enjoyable, but we can find or add things we can positively anticipate around the habit. Scientific term for this is little treat. Get creative here. I'm sure there is something we can hold on to here that you can enjoy. Next, it's okay to be imperfect. In fact, it's encouraged. Doing your habit imperfectly but consistently is what can help you build that habit. So even if you don't have as much time as you'd like for your workout, or maybe you have to go out for a walk instead of going to the gym and lifting weights because you ran out of time in the morning, or maybe you're gonna have a much shorter study session than you were hoping for. Showing up to do those habits is much more important to building up those neural circuits in our brain and integrating into our nervous system than having a perfect session. Trust me, 4 imperfect sessions of your habit in the week are so much more beneficial to building the habit than 1 perfect session. Like I said, it's a numbers game. Once we've got the habit built, then we can start to improve the intensity and quality of what we're doing. Neuroplasticity is our brain's ability to create new neural pathways and modify existing ones, and this is the basis of all habit formation. But if we don't get good quality, sufficient sleep, our brain literally can't integrate those new pathways into our system. Every night, we need to make sure we're getting good quality sleep to lock in all of the work that we put in during the day doing those habits. Some quick tips: try to sleep on a consistent schedule. I'm sorry, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this actually works. Once I started waking up at the same time every day, including weekends, it seriously transformed my sleep for the better. I'm sorry, I wish it wasn't true. Aiming for about 8 hours can be helpful. Dimming the lights in the hours before going to sleep and using a yellow filter on technology to reduce blue light can be helpful. I am a huge fan of magnesium L-threonate. It's helped me a lot with falling asleep and staying asleep, and helped me to get off of melatonin, which I used to be taking daily before I found out that it can cause some hormonal issues. Lastly, make your habits easy. We don't need to make this any harder on ourselves than it already is, okay? Put your vitamins front and center in your fridge right next to the milk that you use every day for your coffee. Put your yoga mat out in the living room if you want to stretch more. Put things in plain sight, reduce the friction as much as possible. The night before you're going to the gym, lay out your clothes and shoes and make your pre-workout and have it right there in the fridge for yourself. Think about the habits that have a lot of friction for you and do everything you can to reduce that friction. Future you will thank you. Once we've established those connections in our brain and built those circuits, we won't need the extra help, and you can hide your neon colored yoga mat back in your closet and the aesthetic of your living room will be restored. I want to leave you with a story from my own life. I remember the first day I walked into the gym when I was in college like it was yesterday. Everything felt so foreign. I was so nervous. All I did was go on the treadmill because I was so intimidated. For the next few months while I was trying to build that habit, there were 5 times as many days that I ended up skipping as there were actual workouts I got done. And now, although I do like to procrastinate my workouts a little bit in the morning, and I'm working on that, it's become so integrated into my routine and who I am that it's almost reflexive. I know I'm going to get my workouts in, and I am so proud of getting to that point. I promise you, if you can work through that discomfort in the beginning, it will be so worth it, and you can build any habit you want to build if you are willing to keep pushing and keep trying. I love talking about this kind of stuff, so if you have any questions or requests, leave a comment and let me know. I will link my video on breaking bad habits, which is kind of the counterpart to this video, in the description if you're interested in that. And I also have a playlist about goals, discipline, motivation, and everything you can do to become the best version of yourself, and I will link that in the description as well. If you didn't hear, I'm doing 25 days of fitness on my channel, 12 long videos and 25 short videos in the month of December. I would love to have you tag along if you're interested in becoming the best version of yourself. If you found this video helpful, the best way to support my channel is give this video a like and hit subscribe if you would like to see more from me, and I will see you next time.